flower man, when are you gonna grow?
And welcome back to our organic garden out here at Channel 3. And what we're looking at right now is a lot of different types of vegetables you need to plant. Now, first off, we talked about it in the last segment, but make sure you're planting in these raised beds. Deep soil is the ideal situation, folks. You got to work in about 6 inches of compost, 12 inches down into the soil. It's very important. If you don't do that, well, you're not going to end up with a lot of great results. We want full sun mostly during the wintertime. And of course, we're planting a lot of our leafy type vegetables. We showed you some of our Swiss chard and some of our kales. Of course, some of your herbs work out fantastic out there in the desert Southwest, as does your thyme or your lemongrass. Both of those work out fantastic. And remember, when you're planting those herbs, you want to plant with some type of volcanic type rock. You got to have well-drained soil. Without this, you're not going to get those herbs growing real well. So if you get soil that really holds that moisture right up against that root zone, well, invariably, that plant is not going to do well like we talked about. Now, different types of flowers are basically, well, they're the thing that's going to keep a lot of your different types of non-beneficial insects away from the garden. They confuse the sensory organs of the insect itself. So planting some sunflowers, some statice, marigolds, or even some of your desert wildflowers around your garden or adjacent on the outside of those beds goes a long ways towards keeping those insects under control, as does a lot of different types of sensory type plants. And we talked about those. Those are garlic, onion sets. Those work out fantastic out here in the desert Southwest. When you're planting these, make sure you plant with a lot of bone meal, because these are a root crop, and these root crops require a lot of phosphorus worked down deep into the soil. So when you're working that soil, work it deep, work it about 6 inches to 12 inches, and make sure that bone meal is well entrenched in that soil prior to planting. And then, of course, your root crops are excellent this time of year. Your smaller type of carrots, in fact, your short carrots work out fantastic. Why? Because the fact our soil is fairly hard out here. It's dense, it's heavy, and the shorter the carrot, the better it does. Radishes is another stalwart for our garden, and what it does, it is a great indicator for where you can grow in the garden, or if you have a place you might think about putting a garden in. If you can grow radishes, well, like my grandfather used to say, you can grow anything. And then last but not least, your beets will work out fantastic. All these go in by seed. You're better off when you're planting root crops to go in by seed, and you want to plant companion plants like this nasturtium right here. Those do a real good job. Not only are they a good job on detracting those insects, but the leaves and flowers are edibles out here. And then, of course, your different types of mints. And last but not least are different types of asparagus. In fact, here's one right here. We're getting ready to plant these guys. These will be one of the longest lasting crops you can plant in your garden, up to 25 years. Real easy to grow as long as you have that deep, rich soil that we've been talking about all along. So there you go. There's a lot going on in the garden right now. Right now, this weekend is going to be the perfect time, and then you can go ahead and get started for a good garden all the way through the springtime.